You should look at that.
Good evening and welcome back to Mystic Matters. We are the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. Good evening, Kristin, once again.
Good evening.
I saw you a couple of weeks ago. Thank you for pinch hitting for Tricia Walsh. I really, really enjoy your company.
Always good to be here.
So we've got a lot going on. Why don't you tell us what's going on in the next couple of weeks?
All right. Well, tomorrow, the ribbon cutting extravaganza takes
Yes.
place at Horses Healing Humans.
Okay.
They're doing great work over there.
Do you want to tell us exactly where they're located, or do you know where they're located?
They are on Route 184.
Okay.
And it's at 5:30.
Right.
So come out to support them and
Great organization.
Wear good shoes, because we are going to do some, stable inspection and some happy things with horses.
So no heels.
No heels.
Okay, just want to get that straight.
All right. And then Thursday, September 17th, right here.
Right back here.
At SEC TV Studios. They're going to host their gallery opening. They're opening an art gallery here in SEC TV Studio. And that is in the Groton Plaza right now. That's where we are. Very glamorous, right? And that's at 5:30, drinks and hors d'oeuvres, and you can go home with some of the art.
It's fantastic.
It's
and
good.
thank you, Frank Ficini, for hosting Mystic Matters. We tried to figure this out a few weeks ago, and I think it's almost up to 20 years. So Frank's been a very good friend to the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce, and we adore him as well, and all the luck with this beautiful studio. So, Kristin, part of your job is managing Mystic Matters and, of course, working with the members. And you're doing a fantastic job for us at the Chamber. So we've got some members tonight that are doing absolutely something that you're going to hear for the first time here on this show, but it's a very different type of business. So why don't you go ahead and introduce the people that are on tonight, our members that are, really business members and this is part of your benefit, right? Being on Mystic Matters, and Kristin always likes to reach out and get some good shows for us. So go ahead and introduce.
So I met Candice and Robert Webb from Charter Oak Scanning. Welcome. I met them at the Velvet Mill, and because for another show, that we did here, Seal from when she went to Saudi Arabia.
A couple weeks ago,
I had them convert her pictures, old pictures, to digital so that we could put them on the show.
Isn't that amazing?
Yep.
So, Robert, we have a father and daughter show here.
Absolutely.
Going on. A couple of things. Charter Oak, where did you get that name from?
Well, we came up with, searching for a name for a business is always difficult, but one of the things we knew about our business is that we had to ensure that we had trust. And the name Charter Oak being the state tree and the history behind the word Charter Oak made it very easy to decide on Charter Oak Scanning. After all, that's part of the state heritage. A document was entrusted with the people, and it was hidden because there was a previous king who wanted to make a few changes to this part of the world. So we thought that Charter Oak
a previous king, that's how English people talk, right? They're like, I'm not really going to say what the English king's name was.
Yeah, well, it's only a temporary arrangement. So, so it was very natural for us to come up with that name, Charter Oak, as part of Connecticut. That's where we're based. And Charter Oak Scanning made a nice natural connection, because that's the business that we started. We started our business as a document scanning business.
Right. So what exactly do you do?
What we do is we capture people's memories. So we moved away from document scanning to some degree. We still do some. But what we started to do was capture those memories that are held on slides, old photo prints, 8mm film, 16mm film, video. There's a whole plethora of memories of families and special moments held on all that material. And the danger is it's all degrading. It degrades due to weather conditions. We do live quite close to the ocean, and of course it's hurricane season coming up. That information can be damaged by water, other mold, and all sorts of things that are climate controlled. So this is an opportunity to convert that to a digital format, which of course will last forever. So that's the business that we're in.
Well, interesting enough, when we talk about the Greater Mystic Chamber, you've got a wonderful story with your connection with the Chamber, having done the October Fall Festival,
yes.
which we do every year. And so tell us your experience with that, Candice.
So we attended last year, and it wasn't a very warm day, but this year hopefully it will be.
It will be, I promise.
So we met the librarian at Ledyard High School, just handing out our flyers, and a year later she came to called us and said that we have a lot of 16mm film that we'd like you to come price out. So Robert went there to kind of give them an estimate, and he's found thousands of hours of film.
They have over 1,000 hours of football games. They are celebrating their 50th anniversary this year.
Right, this
playing
year.
Football this
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
So from 1965 to 2015, they have a whole host of games that were captured on 16mm film originally, so from 1965 through to the late 70s. Then they switched to VHS tape, and now, of course, everything is digital, so they're capturing it on a digital format. But they found that they had all these old films that were held by the previous coach at Ledyard High School, and they wanted to make them available to all those alumni that had supported the team over the years.
Yeah.
So, of course, what they didn't fully comprehend was the magnitude of that library of information. So we were able to come up with a scheme that would enable us to convert that 1,000 hours of video and film and make it available to the alumni, and for in turn the school to have a digital record of all those games.
Right, that historical record.
Historical record.
So I think we have a clip of that coming up, and Frank, if you do us the honors to show that, exactly what you do.
Right, thank you.
Glory Days.
Yeah, so we came up with the name Glory Days because it really is that. It's the glory days of the high school students. So it's been really great, like seeing alumni coming up to us at, like, we do farmers markets to meet customers and saying that, like, oh yes, I hope you have this date, or I played in 1965, and so it's been interesting.
Somebody actually admitted that they played in 1965. I would have said I played, but I would have made it a little 10 years.
Right.
You know, there was always a 10-year little window there that I would have made
From
up
black
along
and
it.
white to color. Like you
Well,
don't
I would have
wanna be
never
like-
said the black and white. But that's fantastic that this was 6 months later, I understand it, that they contacted you?
Yes, and that was what was so fascinating was that, I mean, that particular event, I mean, who would have thought, you know, despite the horizontal rain and cold and everything else, well, it
the
shows
New England weather.
New England weather.
Well, sort of a welcoming to you guys.
Yes, it was.
You know.
But it showed that, you know, it's the people that you meet, it's local, and that's what our business is about, and it's an opportunity to support the local community. And this is the school is so enthusiastic about this and so supportive. I mean, without their collaboration, we couldn't achieve this. I mean, they are promoting the films themselves, making it available, introducing us to other schools, because obviously we now have the film that was played against other schools. So it's
like
not
the rivals.
just the rivals.
Right.
I've test marketed this product with my brother-in-law, who used to play for Stonington High School, who's notoriously frugal, shall we say.
Well, frugal is a good word.
And he won't mind hearing this, but he is frugal.
Yeah.
He is frugal, and even he is prepared to buy one of these films and make a contribution to the high school. So.
Wow.
That's my test marketing with my
I think we don't have
brother-in-law.
phone lines is all I can
Right.
say.
Right.
People calling in.
Well, it's interesting, Kristin, that you know, people will they'll pay for memories.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
I think, and we had discussed prior to you coming on live, is you know, owning a jewelry store. Really, what we do at Majestic Jewelers is sell memories, and we're selling an emotion.
Yes.
So I think the product that you have is a product that, well, I guess live on, you know, basically, and I think that's what you
Absolutely.
wanted to do. So who would think of this? I mean, brainstorms was this? I know it was you, Candice, obviously. I mean, I can see it in your face. It's obviously your brainstorm. But no, how did you come up with this?
No, I mean the whole concept of not being something that the school could necessarily afford all the time. It does take, because it is real time. We capture in real time, so it would take a lot of hours to do. The idea to make it more of a percentage of the school gets back a little bit each time that we sell a DVD was Robert's idea. I can't take full credit for that. But the name and the logo design, the marketing, like that's my background. So that's where.
Okay, so I was wondering what your input was on
yeah,
this. Yeah,
so that's my degree coming in as graphic design, and my previous job as a marketing manager. So that was my.
So the
input,
collaboration is really what makes this whole thing work.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, like we said, we're really hoping to do that with other schools as well in the area. So that's hopefully what we'll start doing. It won't be just with Ledger, although it will definitely start with Ledger. Yeah.
But who thought of this idea of transforming this?
The memories and the so on. Well, I suppose, I mean, it was originally my idea to set up a business, as I said, in terms of document scanning. I had come from a document scanning background. I worked for IBM in their imaging division. Previously in the UK, I had a document scanning business. So it seemed quite natural when the point came to try my own business to go into document scanning. Found out very quickly that the document scanning business in this area, which is primarily for medical,
Right.
the Affordable Care Act and so on, had moved quite rapidly. A lot of doctors and dentists and therapists and so on had decided to either retire or merge their businesses in with Lawrence and Memorial and a number of other groups. So that kind of business wasn't quite as available as we thought.
And
so
it was really going away.
It was
a little bit
going
of it
away.
was going away.
Yeah.
Right.
And the technology that we use to capture information on paper is the same technology that you use to capture a photograph. It is the same piece of technology. But your whole relationship with your customer is very different, because you or they are entrusting with you their family memories. Some of those memories go back many generations. I mean, the exciting thing about what we do is we're able to capture that information and pass it on to future generations. We have conversations sometimes with customers who say, well, I want to have these videos and these pictures digitized, but I'm not really sure my children are very interested. And I always tell them, well, they may not be, but wouldn't you like your great-grandchildren who have yet to be born to be able to hear your voice or see your face? I'd love to see mine.
My, that's touching, huh? That was good.
That's what we're capturing all the time. It's what you want to pass on to future generations. And we have such many telling stories, and it is quite emotional. We had a lady came to see us recently who brought in one of those dictating machines, the dictaphone, that were very popular in the...
Gosh, I haven't heard about that.
Yes, at the turn of the last century.
Yes, oh yes.
At the turn of the last century.
Okay, Robert.
So she... I know you were too young.
No, we're definitely too young.
And she brought this in, and she said, this tape is really important. And she told us this story. And the story was that her young son, at the time, had been given a school project. And the school project was interview somebody who you think is old. So he went across the street to interview this old man. Anyway, he interviewed this old man, came back, and did his school project. Unfortunately, a year later, the old man passes away.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So this lady's at the funeral, and she said, you know, your father was such a wonderful man. He was so good to my son Johnny, you know, when he was doing his school project, and he talked about his time in Iwo Jima. And she said, well, that's fascinating, because he's never talked about it.
Right, a lot of those World War II veterans don't talk about
Or
it.
they don't talk about those kind of things.
Right.
So she said, this has his voice on this tape.
Oh
Can
my
you
gosh,
copy
yeah.
this? And of course we can.
Yeah.
So we were able to take that precious memory and keep it there for posterity.
Right.
And so his great-grandchildren will hear him talking to a stranger about something that he felt uncomfortable talking to his own family about. So we can reach and touch some very sensitive areas, and some very happy ones. Everybody else is always smiling. Everything we do, everybody's smiling. People smile, put a camera in front of them, and they smile.
We actually just so we feel the emotion coming through.
Sure.
But so my granddad, who was the reverend at Mystic Congregational Church, I just heard his voice for the first time because
when was that, Candice?
A couple of weeks ago. Actually, we found some of his sermons. Yeah, he was practicing for them, and it had him singing. And my memories of him, he was already
a little bit older.
He was a lot older, and he wasn't really there in terms of being able to speak to him. So it was the first time I actually ever heard my grandfather speak. So I suddenly felt the emotion that we have for our customers all the time.
Well, interestingly enough, as we celebrated 10 years of Katrina, and I was listening to some of the documentary of this horrible hurricane that had really took a toll on New Orleans and the area. One of the first things that people do, believe it or not, when you talk about memories, when there was a situation like a flood, a hurricane, or a fire, do you know what they run in for?
The photo album.
The photo albums. It's three things: a loved one, a pet,
and photo.
And the photo. Every single, and there have been many. And please don't do this. Let them call the fire. Let the people do their job. But we understand that this is what. So it's interesting as I'm speaking with you, that both of you, that if there was. Make 2 copies, a separate place. And I don't know, I'm just coming up with this because I'm thinking.
People to do that all the time.
Right, you make, you do this and you put it in the hands of, let's say, myself and my brother, another home or Majestic Jewelers where we have this safe. But because if there's something lost, that there's another location. But interesting, if this was all documented and certainly even the photos on your wall.
Yeah.
You take, I don't know, you take those pictures, you bring them to you.
Like an inventory or whatever.
An inventory, as we talk about jewelry, and I tell all my customers, inventory your jewelry, because if there's a fire or a flood, I think I'm coming up with a new idea of a business here. I am loving this Charter Oak scanning. But you can sort of do an inventory of the memories that are actually in your house today.
Now, I actually take pictures, confession time, right? Every time I have a different change of life. So when I was in college, I did this, and every time we move. But there's a place when you come home from work or when you're leaving for work, and things end up there, right?
Yeah,
so your keys end up there, and then your keys.
That little place.
And maybe there's a note, maybe there's a place to leave notes or whatever. So what I've done is I've taken a picture of that place because it's the most ordinary, and it just kind of forms itself as you move from place to place. And you don't look at it and you don't think about, this memory, but I take a picture of that every time that we are someplace else. So I have these strange pictures of when I was in college, what was important to me, and you got my meal card there. Like my identification or whatever. And going on through the years. So I can see how that would make it seems silly somewhat, but the memories that are sparked there are very visceral because it has to do with every single day.
Right.
So you're saying, look at the stuff that's around you on the walls, and every single day. What's your view?
I've taken pictures, of the family. I've photoshopped the last 10 years, but I'm just kidding. But I think you realize it more when a family member, especially a mother or father, which mine are deceased, and you realize, back then you thought, well, how could I have, and of course it wasn't available, that type of thing, but I encourage people that, even in your busy lives, those are the things that you go back the most. That night when it's just stormy out and you're got your hot toddy and you want to look through some albums and things like that. So this is absolutely a wonderful idea going forward. Certainly with all the schools, the elementary schools, the high schools, and I can just see this being a very big, there's a lot of alumni associations
Right.
There's a lot of that. A lot of people are beginning to want, they've got lots of photo albums.
Yep.
They've got 5,000 digital pictures on their telephone.
Oh, it's
and
just
everybody's
crazy.
trying to say, well, I'm overwhelmed by all of this.
Well, decluttering is so fashionable right now.
Yeah, very popular.
Right.
And people come to us and say, well, I have 10 totes of pictures or photo albums. Where do I begin? And we say, well, the best place to start is to tell a story. So you want to tell a story. So imagine you're sitting with a complete stranger and you're going to tell them your life story. So who your great-grandparents were, who your parents were, events, life moments, all those kind of things. That's how you tell the story. That helps you whittle down lots of those extra photographs and so on that you don't need to digitize.
Right.
You just need the kind of thing that will tell a really good story and will make people smile and understand you a little better as a person and what values your family had.
Well,
and every family has them.
Well, it's interesting because I have a girlfriend, and we just brought this up, and she lost her yearbook, and it was Fitch Senior High School yearbook, and she, it was a friend that was in it, and that is now gone. And she asked to borrow a yearbook because she wanted to scan it. She thought, well, I just wish it was more digitized. I could just put it in.
Right.
So, I mean, if you have a 1972, bump it up a little bit, yearbook out there that you've lost in a flood, and this is exactly what happened. She lost it in a flood. The pages were stuck. Go find a friend that had it in the same year. Take it to Charter Oak Scanning.
Digitize it.
Digitize it. Take all the pictures, and then be done with it. I mean, I think lost yearbooks.
So here's my plan.
Okay, I'm
going
coming up with all
to-
these different
I'm
ideas.
gonna
I gotta
take,
go to the
like-
Velvet Mill.
We're going to take all of the memories from all of my generations, we'll digitize them, and then we'll implant them as a little chip in the back of my neck, and then I will have the memories. This is very science fiction. You write it down. It's my idea.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
your
okay.
idea.
It's your
Okay,
on
idea.
take this,
television.
Candice. Are you
A
getting?
chip in the back of my neck with all the memories of everybody.
So, Candice, you're working in collaboration with Robert, right? You're working.
Yes.
So, what exactly? I mean, but you have a marketing background, a graphics. So, he does the digital aspect of it, and then can you put a logo on it, or?
Are you trying to say, how is it to work together as father and
Yes.
daughter?
Well,
is that what you're
actually,
trying
I
to
was
say?
trying to get a little bit more out of it in the last 5 minutes.
Robert's of the sales side
Okay.
of the business, and I do the marketing and operations in terms of logistically how we do things.
Okay, all right.
So we are in business together.
Yes.
Yes.
I introduced Candice as my daughter and business partner.
Right.
It's a joke
So
in the
it's-
office when people will say, how's it like working for your dad? I'm like, I wouldn't know. I don't work for him. We work
you-
with each
him.
other.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's the same thing. It's a husband and wife
Right.
show. So I say I work with my husband. I don't work for him, and neither does.
and
Okay,
nor does
never
he
mind.
work for you.
Actually, that's another show. Well, it's a very interesting product, and of course, as members of the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce, we want you to have all the business in the world. And coming up to the Christmas season, I really think, Kristin, what do you think? What a great gift to give your grandmother, to give your mom, to give anybody.
Yeah.
Even if it's just, it's probably going to be swamped this week.
Well, and don't
It'll all be
plan on
coming
just
in.
going and dropping stuff off.
No,
Go and
this
plan on
is
sitting down
Right.
and talking
Right.
with
We-
Robert and
yeah.
Candice because it is a very comfortable studio. They
Right.
are wonderful people, as you can see.
Well, not
so
only
it's
does
really
it-
an experience.
I think this is the experience, the service, the memories, the emotion, and certainly as the holidays come up, we are getting into our fourth quarter here as the holidays come up. If it's something that you want to do for the holidays, think about it now. I mean, we're in September because certainly this is a type of, it's
Right.
very, very time consuming. And so one of you tell us where you are located again and your website and how to get in contact with you.
So we're located in the Velvet Mill in Stonington Borough, and our phone number is 860-495-0005. And you can find us on the web at charteroakscanning.com. And
Your hours?
And we're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and Saturdays, 10 to 1. And we always offer an hour free consultation for people
Okay.
to come in with all their
Right, and so
their
an
things.
estimated, you know,
What you have here, helping you put it all together, and we also work really closely with the photo organizer as well in terms of if that's something that you need going forward too. So
I
And
hate
we
to
have
say
a
this, but I
Charter
need
Oak
that.
scanning, don't let your memories fade away.
I
That's
love
our
that.
tagline.
I
yeah, and if you
yeah,
like
I think Candice is, I mean, this is, now I know what she does.
and if you like us on Facebook, then you get 10% off your first order.
Yes.
Gotta go right back to
But you
Majestic.
I li- yeah, right.
Well, thank you very much,
Thank you.
guys, for coming on. I know we have a couple of minutes just to,
Well, I wanted to say that Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce, what we do, you guys are, selling memories, preserving memories, and we kind of sell connections, right? Like,
Exactly.
that's what we try
Yeah.
to do, is connect people. So I'm grateful to hear the story about that you being at the Fall Festival, meeting one person, this
Right.
one library lady, right? And she makes a decision
Right.
to go tell somebody, and they say, yes, that would be good. And then all of a sudden, all these people, like generations of people, are affected by this decision and by this connection, by this
Yeah.
relationship. So this is why I love my job, and why.
well, I think the
love
Greater Mystic
the
Chamber of Commerce, I think, just to piggyback on what Kristin said as a director of membership, their strength, the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce, is their small business and the opportunity to network and connect people. The staff, especially Kristin, does a very good job at that. I know. I hear you on the phone. Who anybody needs something, she's constantly connecting people. So that is our strength. We're happy to have you as members. I was going to say I was going to guarantee great weather for the festival, but what if they come back next year and they're like, whatever.
They'll say we have the footage
Yeah.
of the
Yes.
refund.
Yeah. But anyways, we're going to
It'll be
wrap it up by saying a little bit of thank you to Frank and Hunter in the studio, and my cohort in crime these last couple of weeks, Kristin Hartnett. And good luck to the both of you.
Thank you.
We are the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. Mystic Matters. Good evening.
Good evening.